Hello and welcome to Japanese craft beer reviews. Today we have a kind of a special review of a very special beer, and I'm joined by a very special person, Mark. And Mark knows quite a bit about this brewery and this beer. Mark and I have known each other for quite a few years, and I probably had more beer with him than anybody, I think, in the world. And so today we're going to take a look at a very special beer from Kyoto Brewing Company. And this is a brewery that is a favorite of both of ours. And they established themselves in 2015 in the city of Kyoto, which is in central Japan, and which was the ancient capital of Japan. And Kyoto is often regarded as a city of kind of high culture in Japan, traditional culture. And it's an interesting place for an interesting group of young men to open up a craft beer brewery. It was opened by three people. One is an American, one is a Canadian, and one is a Brit, a Welshman. And they met each other when they first came to Japan to work on the Japan exchange teaching program in the far north of Japan, and became good friends, stayed in touch over the years. The American man decided to get into home brewing, and he eventually studied brewing in the US and did internships in Lost Abbey in California, and then another internship in Shiga Kogen in Nagano, Japan, which is generally regarded as one of the very best Japanese craft breweries, and then came to work in Kyoto. When he decided to open his brewery, he got in touch with the three friends. They planned and opened in 2015. And they made news right away. They were called the best new brewery in Japan by RateBeer for that year, for the year of 2015. In 2019, they were rated the best brewery in Japan. So they come with some accolades, and I think both of us would agree that they are well deserved. They have three main flagship beers, which you can find on their website, and a number of seasonals, and two main seasonal lines. One is called Kimagure, and that's generally a pale ale or IPA line, and then the Shunkashuto line, which is generally a Saison line. And they also have a number of other series, which you can find out about on their website. RateBeer lists 195 separate beers for the brewery, and that's as of today when I checked. And Mark is responsible for keeping most of those beers up there and getting those beers on there. And Untapped has 153 beers rated, so they're a little bit behind the curve. But the ratings are pretty high, 3.72 for all beers on Untapped. So the beer we're going to look at today is, Mark, you want to introduce this one?
Sure. Good to join you today, Nevit. This is a lot of fun watching your show. This is Ichiju Tasai. This is a table Saison, 3.5%. They originally made this in 2019 with Upright Brewing. It was a collaboration. And I think it's the same batch, but they've gone through different versions of this. They made a Brett version that was just aged in steel, but with Brett last year. And then this is the newest one. This is the wooden oak barrel aged version. Mm-hmm. So I haven't had this yet. I don't think you have either.
No, I haven't.
I'm looking to try it. This is the Brett version. I found quite a bit more complex than the original. The original was good, but the Brett was better. And I suppose this is going to be the best of the three. I hope so.
Okay. So we're looking at a very limited beer for sure. They made three separate beers out of a single batch, and they, as Mark said, they made this with Upright Brewing in Portland, Oregon. And Upright is famous for their open fermentation beers, experimental beers. Alex Scannum, the head brewer there, is very highly regarded in Portland, Oregon. The first batch of this, the regular one, came out in July of 2019. That's why it says 2019 on this tag. And That one has 4 ratings on RateBeer, and the average is 3.55 out of 5. Untapped has 89 ratings for that beer, the July 2019 version, and their average is 3.48. And the second version, the Brett version, so after they divided this into 3 parts, the Brett version, and which was, as Mark said, was done in regular fermenters, and then this one, which was done in American oak. Both of those were dosed with Brett yeast, and the second one, regular Brett one, was released in April of 2020, so just about a year ago. And Mark has had this one, and I haven't. But the third one here came out very recently. RateBeer has no ratings for it whatsoever. Untapped has, if I can read my own writing, 19 ratings, I think, at 3.86. And they said that this is used, the American oak barrels for this are 4th use barrels. So, you know, things have been in the barrels 3 times before, and so that will probably give a different note than a brand new, fresh American oak barrel. The malt bill for this is pretty simple. It's Pilsner and wheat, and the bittering hops are Aramis, and the flavor and aroma hops are also Aramis. So, yeah, and Belgian ale yeast. So pretty basic and down home, I guess we could say. So
I would suspect with the 4th use barrels, that probably they were American bourbon barrels that were then used by a Japanese whiskey maker, and probably used once before by Kyoto Brewing. This is just my guess.
Okay.
I don't think they're importing any barrels themselves. So from what I've heard, is some of the barrels they've gotten from Japanese whiskey makers. So it's probably like that. So it's probably, it was used for one of their strong beers, one of their stouts or their barley wines first. That would be the 3rd use.
Yeah.
And they put this in there. That's what I suspect.
Okay. So it should have some complexity there. Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, let's go for this.
Okay. This is called in English, in Japanese, Ichiju Tasai, and it's translated as, whoa, my goodness. Farmer's Table in English, a very low alcohol, 3.5%, 15 international bittering units beer. And of course, these beers are, Saisons like this are traditionally workers' beers, farmers' beers in the middle of the day. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. This is absolutely beautiful.
My Kyoto Brewing cup here, my Kyoto Brewing chalice. So that
he has the Kyoto Brewing cup. Okay. Wow, look at the carbonation on this.
Yep.
It is really steaming up there. Okay. Did you get a big bang? I didn't hear your bottle.
A bang, but it didn't gush, so that was nice.
Okay. All right. Okay, I'm going to let you go first on this, Mark.
That's just really got a very bready nose. So it's very
it really does. It certainly
also,
does.
I think some lactobacillus working on this one as well, I would say.
That's right, yes. And I forgot to mention that they did, to this 3rd version, this barrel-aged version, they added some lactic acid bacteria to, produce bacteria that will produce lactic acid.
Yeah, because this has got that tart, like, you expect it to be sour from that lactic acid nose, which the last version did not have.
I would call this kind of medium strength, Brett. It's not knocking you out like some serious Cantillons can.
So it's got a little bit of that horse blanket. I think it's developed more than the last version. Some of that dusty kind of old.
Absolutely.
The lacto is there. Grapefruit rind, grapefruit zest kind of thing.
Man, oh man.
Smells great, doesn't it?
Yeah, this is, I mean, it smells great. It smells absolutely wonderful. Yeah. Shall we try her? Cheers. Oh, by the way, Mark and I both lost a good friend recently, and I'd like to propose a toast to him. His name was Gordon, and he was one of the most interesting guys that either of us probably will ever know in our lives. Here's to Gordon. Cheers.
Gordon, wish you could share this with him. Cheers, Gordon. Wow.
Okay.
Sweeter than I expected, isn't it?
Yeah. You get like green apples and
green apple, citrus.
Very citrusy.
This kind of creamy sweetness as well, doesn't it?
Wow. This is something. This is really something.
I don't get a whole lot of oak, which we kind of expected because the fourth use.
So they said that on their website, they said they expected light oak or light tannins to come through. I'm not getting much of that. There's some astringency, but I don't know if it's from that or not.
Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. It's effervescent as can be. Just the carbonation is just popping up off the bottom.
Yeah, the body's really great, isn't it? Because with that heavy carbonation and the only 3.5, it's a relatively light body, but it's it's satisfying with all that effervescence, right?
It absolutely is. Yeah, a bit fruitier and sweeter than many beers in this line, I think. Wow. Okay, so this hop or Aramis, I'm not terribly familiar with it. I mean, I've seen it before, but there's only 15 bittering units here, so I guess it's not. We're primarily getting the malt and the Brett and the aging effect here, I think, rather than and then the hops aren't really making a big dent here, I'm sure.
Plus, it's already 2 years old, so
it is. Yeah, so July 2017, the first release. So
Aramis is a French hop, which is often used in
Saisons.
Saisons, and yeah.
Okay. Pleasant, light, and tasty. Not as dry as I expected.
Oh no, that's a little bit surprising. It really held on to a little bit of that sweetness. I mean, it's not a sweet beer.
No,
but I expected it to be bone dry after this third fermentation.
Yeah, in 2 years, certainly. Yeah, but I mean, it tastes like something fairly fresh, really.
Yeah. Great summer beer. Quite complex.
Absolutely. You could 3.5, you could put away a few bottles of this without any collateral damage,
Yeah,
sure.
All day long almost.
Great stuff. Okay, so once again, what we're looking at is this beer. It's called Kyoto Brewing Ichiju Tasai, Farmer's Table in English, and it's a 3.5%, 15 international bittering unit, barrel-aged, Brett-infused Saison, 2 years old, from Kyoto Brewing, in a nice green 3.75 milliliter bottle with the big dimple in the bottom where the yeast is collected on the sides. So yeah, really something. So final thoughts?
I think this is quite nice. It's not a, it is definitely a table beer, right? It's complex and it's satisfying, but it doesn't really knock your socks off with Brett or with sourness.
Yeah.
It's really well balanced. Good to go with food, I think. With meat or cheese. Yeah, and good to drink it by itself. It's quite good.
It is. It's very pleasant. Yeah. I think it's great. I mean, the fruitiness is developed in a really interesting way. It's its own kind of it's its own kind of beer, really. I think, you know, I think they did a great job on this.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's a step more complex than the Brett version, which is just a step more complex than the original.
The original version, and that's what they were going for. Yeah, yeah, it would be interesting. How much, do you remember how much you paid for the bottle?
I think it was about 1,200 yen.
1,200, okay. Which is getting on to the more expensive beers from Kyoto Brewing for sure. Yeah, they currently have they have a barrel-aged barley wine, and they have bottles of that for sale. I think it was around that, something like that, 1,200 divided.
That was more. That was closer to 2,000, I think.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay, all right, okay. So, okay. Well, I think we're done. We're done here. Okay, we're going to review another Kyoto Brewing beer in our next video. Okay, so hang out for that. Once again, the beer we looked at was a 3.5% table beer and table Saison from Kyoto Brewing called Ichiju Tasai. And I am sorry to say this, you probably won't be able to get it, but I hope you could enjoy it through our review. Very limited beer. Again, they made 3 versions out of a single batch, and the first 2 versions are long gone. And you may check with the brewery, and they may have some bottles, but kind of doubt it. Anyway, thank you very much, and take care. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.